In a small village surrounded by tall green hills and whispering trees, there lived a shy boy named Daniel. Daniel was kind, thoughtful, and always ready to help others. He loved reading adventure books during the day, imagining himself as a brave hero. But when night came, everything changed. Daniel was afraid of the dark. As the sun dipped below the hills and the sky turned purple, long shadows stretched across the ground. The same trees that looked friendly in daylight seemed tall and frightening at night. Every rustling leaf sounded like footsteps. Every moving shadow looked like a monster ready to jump out. Because of his fear, Daniel never stepped outside after sunset. If someone asked him to fetch water from the well in the evening, he would quickly make an excuse. He felt embarrassed, but he couldn't control the pounding of his heart whenever darkness surrounded him. One evening, his grandmother noticed how nervous he became as night approached. She sat beside him and gently said, "Daniel, fear is like a shadow. It seems big and powerful, but it only grows when we turn our back to the light. When we face it, it becomes smaller." Daniel listened carefully, but he wasn't sure how to face something that made him so scared. A few days later, something happened that tested him. His little sister, Lily, had been playing near the forest path in the afternoon. When she came home, she suddenly realized her favorite doll was missing. It was already getting dark, and Lily burst into tears. "That doll was my best friend," she sobbed. Their parents were not home yet, and the forest path was already covered in shadows. Daniel's stomach twisted with fear. The idea of walking into the dark forest made his legs feel weak. For a moment, he thought about waiting until morning. But Lily's crying reminded him of how much she loved that doll. He remembered how she carried it everywhere, how she talked to it as if it were alive. Daniel knew she would not sleep peacefully without it. He looked at the sky. The first stars were appearing. Then he remembered his grandmother's words, "Fear is like a shadow." Taking a deep breath, Daniel picked up a small lantern from the shelf. His hands trembled as he lit it. The warm golden light flickered softly. "I can do this," he whispered to himself. Step by step, he walked toward the forest path. The air felt cooler. The wind brushed against the leaves, creating soft whispering sounds. His heart pounded loudly in his ears. Suddenly, a branch snapped somewhere nearby. Daniel froze, his mind quickly filled with scary thoughts. What if something was hiding there? What if he wasn't brave enough? He almost turned back, but then he lifted the lantern higher. The light spread around him, and he saw clearly. It was just a small rabbit, hopping through the bushes. Daniel let out a nervous laugh. He realized something important. The darkness wasn't creating monsters. His imagination was. Gathering more courage, he continued walking. Each time he felt afraid, he raised the lantern and looked closely. Every monster turned out to be a rock, a tree trunk, or a moving shadow. Finally, near a large oak tree, he saw something lying in the grass. He stepped closer. It was Lily's doll. Relief filled his heart. He picked it up carefully and held it close. At that moment, Daniel felt something new, a quiet strength growing inside him. The forest didn't seem so frightening anymore. When he returned home and handed the doll to Lily, she hugged him tightly. "You're my hero," she said with a bright smile. His grandmother looked at him with pride. "You brought your own light into the darkness," she said softly. That is true courage, not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward despite it. That night, Daniel still saw shadows on his bedroom wall, but instead of hiding under his blanket, he looked at them carefully. He noticed how they changed shape when he moved his lamp. For the first time, the shadows didn't scare him. They were just shadows. From that day on, Daniel was not completely fearless. Sometimes his heart still beat faster in the dark. But now he knew a secret. Fear grows when we run away from it, and it shrinks when we face it. And with every small brave step he took, Daniel became stronger than his fears. Moral of the story: fear becomes smaller when we face it with courage and confidence. If you enjoyed this inspiring story, don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more beautiful moral tales that teach courage, kindness,